Hello and welcome to the Blue Monday podcast, covering Ipswich Town since 2015. I'm Richard Woodward and you are tuned into our new pre-match show. And joining me, debut in the pre-match show, just as much as it is for me, like a giddy child at Christmas because the new season is upon us, Sebastian Brown. Seb, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Not too bad. I remember back in the days before I was involved in the pod and I'd be driving home back to Portman Road with you and Harry and your insane level of insight. So we should probably put a caveat out there that anybody is expecting Harry from Bath style levels of insight from me is going to be sorely disappointed because I'm simply just not that intelligent. But no, great to be involved in a new sort of a preview show. And hopefully as the season...
You used the wrong P word. It's not a preview show.
Sorry,
it's the pre-match show. That's
the pre-match show, right?
That's how we distinguish it. We as you say, right. We'll never surpass that. I mean, you've done the research, yeah? I've just brought.
I'm sure you were doing it. I thought I just bought the bants.
Put some stuff on the background here. Oh, well, this could be very short then. No,
we'll wing it.
So, yeah, we'll wake it up as we go along, like we usually do. So just to explain how this show is going to work. We're recording a little bit earlier than normal, so some stuff might happen on Friday and Saturday morning, which might have passed us by. Lionel Messi might have signed and registered in time to make his debut on Saturday. I suspect probably not. So what we'll do is we'll kind of do a bit of a pickup from where our previous live show left off in terms of the news, and we'll also look ahead to the match coming up, and it won't be as forensic, it won't be as well, I was going to say it won't be as insightful. I hope it will be insightful, maybe in a slightly different way,
a different kind of insight,
different vibes, both good, equally good pre-match shows. And then we've got a new feature. We've got something that we want to make interactive. So we have nicked the idea of Room 101, and we will do football Room 101, Ipswich Town or wider football. So we will deal with that towards the end of the show. We'll have a bit of a debate, and then we'll stick it down the Twitter polls, and we'll see who agrees with who wins and gets to put their thing in Room 101 next week. So that is the format. Seb, before we start, we need to kind of caveat it by saying you are
post-riddled.
Post-COVID. How's it been?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, not too bad, thanks. I think on the last show with you and Joe, was it a week ago on Sunday, I signed off really excited because the Morecambe game was on the horizon and the squad numbers are due up. And yeah, I was in a really, really good mood. Of course, COVID then decided, little did I know at the time, COVID was coursing through my veins. And I've spent the last 10 days or so completely out of action. So on the mend now, thankfully. I've been negative since Tuesday, I think. But there are a couple of side effects, which unfortunately mean I can't get back on Saturday. It's just too far with the drive and the breathlessness and stuff. So I'll be cheering on from afar via Twitter and via the iFollow audio, and hopefully Cheltenham will be my first game of the season.
Well, on behalf of everyone, we wish you well in your recovery, and just to confirm for anyone out there, it's been a really crap week or two for you, hasn't it, as well? So
it's a bit tough, yeah. It's not these things to go through. I advise everybody to wear masks where you want to wear masks and follow the guidelines, etc. You know, there's your public message from the.
There we go. Thank you. That's what I was fishing for. I was kind of using you to, for public health reasons. And so, if you are watching us on YouTube, hello to YouTube. You might see Seb on mute coughing, and if he coughs out loud, we'll be sympathetic. Maybe once, maybe twice, 3 times. Strike.
Picked off.
I'll mute you myself. No. So thank you for joining us, Seb. And it's sad that you won't be able to join me for a pre-match point. But this is as good as. This is the whole point of the show. I have a beer. You've got a Lucozade or a Barocca or something, I'm sure.
Water, hardcore,
H2O. We'll just recreate the same kind of chat that we would have had walking down Burner Street under the subway thingy and then ran into Portman Road, trying to not get run over on whatever that road is just before you turn left into Portman Road. I don't even know what that road is. So that's the gist. That is the gist. So come along with us. I think the plan is we will try and put this out as close as we can. Sorry, record this as close as we can to the match day. And we might do some of these live, but I suspect we won't. Well, might we try Saturday morning?
We could do, yeah, depending on fixtures and whatnot. There's no reason why we couldn't put out a cheeky live one before the game, is there?
Cheeky one before the live. We can guarantee that this pre-match won't morph into Seb with a roaming microphone accosting you in and around Portman Road and on the fan zone. We can give you the Blue Monday guarantee. Let's start with some news, Seb. The bumpers are back. I mean, I think probably all of us were hoping for a little bit more news this week in respect of signings. I mean, the women's team have put us to shame. 2 signings, a keeper, Sarah Quantrill, and midfielder Bonnie Horwood joining from London Bees this week, and 2 more pros joining on, Abby Lafayette and Maddie Biggs. But on the men's team, Seb, are you a little bit apprehensive at the lack of business? We've got 2 injuries that we know about, which is, I think Scott Fraser's likely to miss out, and I've forgotten the other one, and I've not written it down.
Not injured, but I just don't think he's fit. I don't think he's done anything. Cook was
trained yet, has he?
Yeah.
Were you hoping for more? It sounds like the left back Coulson alone is kind of. We don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, Warnock's come out and said they need to sign somebody, so I guess we're just waiting for that piece of the jigsaw to fall into place. I was hoping for maybe at least probably 2 this week going into the season. You know, we do look a little bit, desperately short in central midfield. If anything happens to Evans or Harker, then we've got a real problem there, because Nolan seemingly is still a little bit away from it, and there's just simply no one behind him. Strikers wise, fine, etc. Goalkeeping wise, fine. Centre backs, Edmondson being out isn't great. I guess what's quite useful is the Newport game on the Tuesday night. I guess he can use that to get more minutes in the legs of the likes of maybe Fraser if his injury isn't too bad, and Edmondson, and I guess he can look to build some fitness from there. But I would have liked a couple more going into Saturday, because the squad is just very, very thin at the moment. But obviously we've got to remember we've still got 3 weeks, is it 4 weeks for the end of the month, isn't it, the transfer window? Mm-hmm. So we've still got a decent amount of time, and I still think we'll probably end up seeing another 4 or 5 arrivals before then, which might be a bit down to the bare bones on Saturday.
As Harry would say, yeah. And Cook has said 5 or 6, and I think Ashton's been quoted to be working on stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, there are other options in the under-23s bomb squad. However, they lost to non-league Chelmsford City midweek 3-1. Caden Jackson did score, but you've got Downs, Kenlock, McGavin and Jackson in there. ITFC Twitter is always a fun debate when you talk about Flynn Downs, but is any of that bomb squad likely to kind of get a look in, do you think?
I mean, based on pre-season so far, you just can't see it for Kenlock, Downs or McGavin, can you?
Well, Jackson seems to results like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, Jackson seemed to work his way back into favour a little bit. He was on the bench a couple of times. Was it Palace where he didn't come on, but then he got some minutes against Colchester, and I think, I'm not sure if he came on against Millwall at the weekend, but he seemed to have got himself back in favour a little bit. But with the other ones, you just can't see it, and it's frustrating because, you know, McGavin on the bench on Saturday, or, you know, Flynn Downs, given them with the issues we've got in central midfield, will be a no-brainer. But I think it's quite clear there's nowhere back for these guys. Cook seems to just want really committed people to the club, and if you're not on board the bus, he doesn't want you, does he? So I assume we'll see something, maybe a loan for McGavin, and maybe a cheapish transfer for Downs, maybe 500, 750 grand or something towards the end of the window, as we start to get a little bit desperate and want to take stuff. Surely
he's got to be a bit desperate as well. I can't imagine he wants to be sitting in our under-23s.
Yeah, he's in danger, isn't he, of being left behind? You know, football doesn't wait for anybody. He had his chance with the Palace move, and they got up to, was it 1.7 million or something? Obviously, he views that as a massive poor opportunity. A massive opportunity for him. Then he had his really poor season where he probably only played 10, 15 games. And football is a ruthless business. You know, you can very quickly be left on the cutting heap, so to speak. Look at someone like, I'm not comparing the two, but somebody like Jack Wilshere, for example, this season, you know, cannot get a club. There are big players out there who cannot get clubs. The COVID effect, I guess, you know, exemplifies things a little bit. But he won't want to be certainly spending, between August the 31st and January the 1st playing the occasional under-23 game all over the county, because that's going to do his development no good whatsoever. But that's why I think a loan might happen. If we can't flog him, I could see a loan with a view to buy, maybe going up the pyramid slightly, maybe I don't know, a Birmingham or a lower league, a lower echelon, or maybe a championship club who might just take a punt and say, we'll give you 500k if he's any good next summer. And that might work out well for all parties, I guess.
Yeah, this is where Mark Ashton kind of earns his money to an extent in terms of getting good money for. It sounded like we got, as an aside, there was a lot of fallout of Checkbook FC, which was interesting to hear both Cook and Ashton laugh that off at the supporters Q&A last week, and talking about net spend. It's like, that guy on Arsenal Fan TV, net spend. But it seems to me that the Edmondson deal was the first transaction that pushed us towards being in the I don't know what, in credit or debit, in terms of our spend exceeding the amount that we were taking in, which is pretty good going when you think about it. I mean, Dizelle is going to be a big part of that, but you'd imagine there is some decent money paid for Bishop and possibly Drinnan and Hawkins in there.
Yeah, and Lancaster, and obviously we shifted a lot of players left the club, which helps the wage bill side of things, immensely. We're able to, the players that we've moved on wouldn't. I know they took pay cuts coming down to League One, but the players that moved on, the likes of Chambers and Judge, especially, and Amy Hughes, I guess, they'd have been on really good money for this level. And there's no reason why, if you box clever with basic wage versus appearance fees and bonuses, you can make your money work a lot better for you. So, I mean, what they were saying from the EGM was quite interesting. I thought, we've not really spent very much versus what we've bought in, and long may it continue.
Yeah, prudency. That's what we want as football.
Sustainability, buzzword.
Economics. That stuff. That's the wheel that going on the.
That's what we talk. If we were in the Greyhound on Saturday, we'd be talking about that profit and loss and balance sheets. Yeah,
amortization. Let's have some of that. Put that in your ghost ship. Talking about EGM and Q&As and all that kind of stuff. David Sheepshanks made an appearance at the EGM, which went down quite well by the sounds of it. But similar stuff. A good interview with Mark Ashton on the club YouTube. Again, kind of reiterating the community aspect, but the finer details. And we had another kind of insight into the stadium kind of upkeep and modernisation with the long-awaited legend stuff that has appeared in the concourse in the Sir Ralph Ramsey stand. For your point of view, Seb, how important is, Ashton's quite repeatedly said that, if it's our home and you kind of show pride by it, how important is it for you that Portman Road is a good place to come?
Yeah, for me, it's vital. It sets the standards. We've spoken about it before, haven't we? Anyone that goes to an office or a workplace which is tatty and run down and in obvious need of repair, but everyone kind of really knows it's not going to get done due to budgetary purposes. No one is really, if they're honest, going to be able to give 100% in their job role if you feel that those maybe one level up or two level above you and neglecting your bread and butter, your day stuff. Some of it is so simple. The mural, in the mural along the cobbled stand. Some of the painting of the car park lines, whatever. So a lot of this is superficial stuff, which just shows how the rot had set in and how the previous regime, they were not bothered, as long as they could basically probably meet the minimum for a standard security certificate, get the gates open, that's all they cared about. And that has to have an impact on the players, I mean, if you were a new signing and you were traveling down to Portman Road, for example, I know we always go to the training ground because it looks a lot better, but if you were coming down to Portman Road and saw it in its previous state, you'd be thinking, this isn't really for me. I'll go Cole U. It's just, 10, 15 miles up the road, but it's a much nicer modern stadium. Yeah, exactly. And with the likes of, West Ham and Norwich, obviously up the A140, we were just starting to get left behind in every single aspect of it. And if we can do the basics off the pitch, it will lead to a better, hopefully, work ethic on the pitch and just better standards throughout the club.
So I agree with all of that. To what extent does it make you angry? Because, I've been going back to Portman Road. I'm living up in the Midlands, 2.5 hours, and the bit of the match day experience, which I didn't really care about, particularly when we were crap, was the bit of Portman Road. I would leave it as late as possible to leave the Greyhound, to get into Portman Road. We all knew it was crap. You know, the tannoy speaker above me in the North Stand wouldn't work. You know, there'd be a drip into someone's seat. There'd be a bit of a plant shooting up in the South Stand. The greenness. What Mark Ashton is not going to throw Marcus Evans under the bus whilst he has an ownership stake. Neither will Michael O'Leary. But the fact that it's so stark, and the fact that we are now having Mark Ashton feels compelled to spend this money, I just wonder whether part of him, and he will never admit this, just feels really angry, because I think all of us really should have been angry. And they're kind of, I was going to ask this question at the Q&A, but didn't have the guts to ask it. And someone asked, a lady called Nick, I think, asked a similar question. There was just a mindset or a philosophy under the previous regime of, we'll do the minimum needed. Well, as you said, we'll kind of skate by on the seat of our pants, and you know, the finer details don't matter. It's all the money's on the playing stuff and stuff like that, and screw everything else. And I know we want to be positive and look forward, but I think maybe there'll be a point in a year's time where we have a new pitch. There's a jumbotron somewhere. The track around the outside the pitch has been done, and
dugouts.
All of the Mark Ashton's list is done, and it will probably feel, you know, the like main body of it is going to be the same, but I suspect it will feel completely different. Do we not feel angry that we've regressed so much?
We should do, because we've kind of just accepted it as well a little bit. You know, every now and again we'd get these 5-point plans from Evans, and I remember once when he spoke about the mess on the North Stand roof, and he was like, yeah, we'll get that done. And I think it was like a year later and it still hadn't been done, and he was blaming COVID. And the frustrating thing is, like we said earlier, so many of these things are so easy. It's just superficial stuff. You know, I mean, the cobbled mural was done in 3 days? If that. Employ a professional graphics designer to do some graphics, get a scaffolding team to come and put it all up, but it's done. And I can't imagine it would cost mega money. The contactless payments thing, the keyless, not keyless, the cardless entry at certain gates. And obviously today we've heard they've finally done the pillars. Okay, fair enough. I understand COVID gets in the way of that kind of stuff. But again, it's just graphics on walls. You know, none of this is, we're not asking for the cobbled stand to be torn down and some amazing new 20,000 seater stand put in there with the latest mod cons and corporate facilities. You know, all we want is a bit of pride in the place where we're going to play football every single week, and we should be angry that we were just abused by the previous owner, who just thought, I'm not going to sort that, I'm not going to fix that, I'll take the season ticket money off them every year and I will do the absolute minimum I have to.
Yeah, I not that our anger is going to do anything now, and you know,
but it doesn't really matter either. It's done, isn't it? We need to. That's
what Mark Ashton was saying. I can only worry about the stuff I can control, and I can't control the past. It just kind of feels like the end of the Evans era. It feels like closure would have come from a little bit of honesty and questioning of how things had slipped. But anyway, we need to move on, because it's a new season, a new era,
game changer.
And one of our owners, one of the Three Lions, Brett Johnson, did his kind of rallying cry. Unfortunately, COVID is going to prevent them from getting over for the Morecambe game, but a nice video from him and his Ipswich merch. Loving that. And I would do the accent, but I'm not gonna. Maybe I'll get Paul Cook. No, I won't do that. I know we'll have our ups, hopefully a lot of ups, and I know we'll have some downs, but we're in this journey together. It's an absolute dream of mine. I really appreciate it. I'm grateful for every ounce of support everyone's providing for this club and to this new era. Come on, you Blues. Does that make you feel warm inside, Seb? It was a great video.
It's just good to hear from him, isn't it? You know, as soon as they said the Three Lions can't get over because of COVID, we assumed there'd be some sort of a media release, and it's just great to hear. You know, the public, one of the public faces of the club. You really get that buy-in that it does genuinely mean something to the three of them, and to Ed Schwartz, and to all the other guys that are all involved. Mark Steed, for example. You just get that impression it's not put on. You know, I'd imagine if this had been a year ago and Evans had been sat there doing a 1-to-1 into his iPhone or whatever and uploading it, you'd be thinking, he doesn't want to do this, he doesn't care. But with the Americans, it genuinely feels that much more, legit, and it will be absolutely amazing that first game when they can be there properly in person.
And we're family. That was the word he used. Family. The football family.
They just seem to get it, don't they? They get it. He's not treating us like a customer. He's treating us, as they keep saying, and O'Leary said it the night, they are the custodians of the club for now, and they just totally understand it. And from a PR point of view, yeah, another excellent box ticked.
Well done, Brett. And that's a lot on the news. Let's talk about Morecambe. Seb, here's a quiz question for you. January 2003, the last time Ipswich Town faced Morecambe. Score and goal scorers.
4-0.
Yep.
Clapham scored because it was his last goal because he left about a week later.
He did, yeah.
Ambrose scored because I saw you put it on Twitter earlier.
Right, cheap,
and then I think Darren Bent got 2, but I don't think he started. I think he came off the bench and got 2, I think.
Wow, that's impressive.
He was on a really good run of form. I remember it quite well because my brain's weird.
That's why I asked. He came on for Naylor.
I remember. Did he Naylor? Was it? Yeah, I remember him coming off the bench and doing quite well. And if I remember rightly, I think it was, considering that we were challenging for the playoffs and they were non-league, I think it was quite a deep. If those are the goal scorers, it must have been a hell of a strength team.
Should we to read you the team?
Go on, fire away.
Marston goal. Naylor. This is the way that it is on BBC, so I can't give you the Richards at left back. I'm guessing Wilness at right back. Horiderson and possibly Naylor at that point at centre back.
Yeah.
Jermaine Wright, Matt Holland. Maybe it was a 5 at the back. Clapham's in there, as you said.
What, Wilness and Richards as wing backs?
Yeah.
There was a phase that season where Holland played as a centre back. I remember it.
Yeah, maybe that's it then. So Naylor, Holland, Horiderson at the back. Wilness and Clapham wing backs. Wright, Ambrose. Oh man, I've lost it. Lost me.
I mean, that's a hell of a side.
Front two, you could argue Ben, Marcus, Ben.
Yeah, that's a hell of a side to put out against a non-league side when we were going to try and gate crash the playoffs and make up for the awful start that we'd had. And I guess Magilton and Miller aside, that's probably a first choice 11 at that time, isn't it?
Armstrong on the bench. Abadallah comes on along with Royster in the 77th.
Royster came on. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Morecambe had a guy sent off, James Bentley, who actually managed Morecambe for about 8 years, I think. Currently FC Filed, I think, manager. He was sent off after 20 minutes, which kind of made it an uphill battle for them from that point. But yeah, there you go. Any idea on the attendance?
Back, it's a cup game, but then I'm going to go for 19,000.
Yeah, 18,500.
Yeah,
nicely done. Well, that's the last time we played Morecambe. Only twice in our history, both FA Cup ties. The goals are available. Check my Twitter feed for the ones from the season 2000-2001. Stuart did one of his kind of mazy little thready shot goals, and
that was the sad weekend. We knew Johnson was leaving because he wasn't in the squad, so we knew he was off. Richard Logan got a call up instead, so we've never really recovered, have we?
No, you haven't ever recovered. Yep. And Stuart went from strength to strength, and Armstrong scored. Obviously, didn't need John's goals because Armstrong was weighing in at that point, taking the burden.
Not so much the next year, eh?
And then,
don't let the facts get in the way.
And then Jermaine Wright scored quite a nice goal. So yeah, those goals are available.
But again, listing those names there, that's a hell of a starting 11 as well.
Full strength. Richard Wright in goal, definitely. I think Clapham played in that one. Wilness step over for the second goal.
To play full strength teams in cup competitions to score a lot of goals, eh?
Yeah, and I think probably, Joe Royal in the post match for the more recent ones, his quote was, "I'm relieved not to be on the end of a giant killing," and I think possibly there's a little bit of fear, isn't there?
Yeah.
And I don't know what level Morecambe were in 2003, probably same level they were.
Non-league, I think.
Yeah, Conference Premier or what have you. So unlike previous managers of recent eras, losing to low league divisions back in the early noughties was certainly something we were embarrassed by and didn't want to happen. So we didn't let it happen by playing a good team and taking it seriously. But a lot of time has transpired since then. And very good season for them last year, promoted via the playoffs after finishing 4th under Derek Adams, who I think he left pretty much straight away.
Yeah, it was like 3 days later. It was weird, wasn't it? He got them promoted and then he said, "I've taken the club as far as I can. I'm going to pursue something elsewhere." And a couple of days later, he rocks up at Bradford.
I'm going to take the step down to Bradford.
I'm going to stay in League Two. Yeah. I bloody love League Two.
Yeah. What do you like about League Two?
No, I mean, that's what you must have told.
Yeah. Tell me what? Yeah, how many League Two clubs have I managed? I don't know where I'm going with that quote. Let's move on. So yeah, to the point. This is Morecambe's first time at this level. Going to be a real challenge for them. In terms of the new manager, Stephen Robinson, has come in. I've got some facts. Let me put some facts on the screen and we'll read them out for folks as well. Whirly buffering. There we go. So yeah, Stephen Robinson now in charge. Name might be familiar if you remember Bournemouth and Luton back in the 90s. You remember Bournemouth and Luton in the 90s, Seb?
Yeah.
Nope. Yep. Brilliant. And also Northern Ireland coach and Oldham and Motherwell manager. So good pedigree there. I think Morecambe fans are pretty pleased with that appointment. There he is. There's his picture. The other thing I guess I wanted to, so on these kind of key facts, what I should have stuck in there was the mileage. Like, you're just down the road from Morecambe, but how far away is it from you? So you're Wrexham way, Chester way.
Yeah.
How far away is that from Morecambe?
I don't know about miles. Driving wise, probably about an hour and 15 or so.
An hour and 15. And then,
yeah.
So, and to yours is 4 hours ish?
From Ipswich, yeah, about 4.5 normally.
So this is the world that I now live in, where I used to be in the middle of everywhere. Now, like Morecambe is probably the longest trip along with Plymouth that we probably do this season, isn't it?
Sunderland, I guess, is always up there. But
yeah, I guess the dotted line.
You chose to leave, so you've got to live with your own decision now.
I
want sunshine. I want nice weather and a better standard of life.
You say that, it's pissing down rain outside here.
I got sunshine here in Chester, so
that's embarrassing.
Good decisions. A good idea is a good idea forever.
Oh, I've completed now. Can I get my money back? No, too late. But I guess the key bit for really to talk about when it comes to Morecambe is all of the kind of transfer business that has happened over the summer. Just amazing amount of turnover. Whoops, let's rewind. Here we go. 15 players in, 5 of those loans according to my stats. 11 players out. I've highlighted 3 players for interest. 2 of them are signings. Jonathan Abika, forward signed from St Mirren, possibly a name familiar to a lot of people. He previously was at Reading, I think, signed on a free up front. Shane McLaughlin is another name that might be familiar, being ex-Ipswich, came through the youth team and went on to AFC Wimbledon. I think he might have played against us.
Did he play in that when Mick played all the kids against Palace that season?
Possibly.
I think he played in that game. I don't know if he started. He might have come on, but I'm sure he played. He had some involvement in that game.
But another player signed on a free. And in fact, no fees spent as far as I'm aware. So their net spend is looking pretty good because they sold I don't know whether he was player of the season, but he really should have been. Carlos Mendes Gomez sold to Luton for an undisclosed fee.
He was the guy that scored in the final, wasn't he? And
he scored the penalty in the playoff
15
final.
Goals or something for the season, I think.
Yeah, I've got his stats for you. 43 appearances in total, 15 goals and 5 assists. And I don't believe he was up front. I think they played either a 4-5-1 or a 4-1-4-1 or a 4-3-3. So he was the left side of that. And which makes it even more impressive, if you ask me. So he had a pretty good season. I don't know what the fee was reported to be, but that's when you kind of get promoted, Seb. He's the kind of player that you want to kind of keep hold of, isn't he? And
build your side around. Yeah, I guess we've seen a couple of instances happen to Cambridge in as well. They came up and they've lost their top scorer Mullin. So I guess it's one of those where the natural pecking order will kick in. I'm assuming they probably got a couple of hundred, maybe 300 grand or so for him. It must be in the low 100,000s because they had to trigger his extension option to keep him there to get some sort of fee. So I think most of the fans were aware he was going to be moving on, but it still must be a blow when your top scorer and your talisman from the year before who's basically got you up isn't going to be around.
Yeah, and 2 division jump for him as well. So it's kind of a no-brainer kind of situation there. But as you say, kind of you want to keep hold of your talisman. If you want to, I mean, we need to be honest. The odds for Morecambe are pretty long of them staying in the division. But as I say, a lot of players were retained who made a contribution. And as I said, plenty of signings coming in. Some other names to mention for you. I mean, here's a name for you. Tumani Diagaraga.
He's absolutely loved by the Morecambe
48
fans, isn't he?
appearances for them last season.
They say he basically could play League Two with a cigar. He's that comfortable at that level. Was it? It must have been the 16-17 season we had him.
17-18.
Was it? No, it was 16-17, wasn't it? I'm sure it was a January transfer window.
Oh, I'm going to Google it.
I think it was. I think it was the January transfer window in 2017. He joined us. I think he came from Leeds, if I remember rightly.
He was at Leeds,
and I think he probably played about must have been 10 games for us or so. I guess we
12.
were trying to find that. 12,
yeah,
okay.
Look at this.
We were trying to find that kind of. I don't think he ever scored. We were trying to find that kind of midfield linchpin to play alongside Skuse and Douglas, I guess, at the time. It was that window. We got Emma Hughes came in the same window, and Dominic Samuel, and
it's not going to work. There you go.
Yeah.
And the date of the article.
Yeah.
21st of January 2017. So 16-17.
Yes.
Damn it.
Knowledge.
There's power. I went to his debut. I think it was at Preston away.
That was Tom Lawrence scored like a wonder goal.
Yeah. And then we lost 2-1. I think
we got excited because we were going to sign their striker. Hugo. Yeah, we got all excited, and then we didn't buy anybody.
It was a 1-1 draw. I think they equalised in the last minute. I don't think we lost, but I think we almost lost. 1-1 draw. 12 appearances before getting injured and being recalled. Some other names for you. I mean, the kind of front man on his own last season certainly was Cole Stockton. 43 appearances, 13 goals, 3 assists is not a bad return.
And he's still there, isn't he? So I'm guessing they'll be looking to him for
still there. The other player that made a big contribution is Adam Phillips, who played the first half of the season on loan from Burnley, and then left to join Accrington, their arch rivals. But he's re-signed for his third loan spell. Even in his 25 appearances, he's got 8 goals, 6 assists. So he made a contribution. Adam Wildig in midfield, 40 appearances, 9 goals, 5 assists. And the only other player that I've thought about was John O'Sullivan, but he's right winger. He's left to join Accrington, which is, that's like going to Norwich from what I hear.
Yeah.
He's done a Liam Gibbs.
Okay.
But I think the we need to kind of full disclosure here. I don't know what they've done in pre-season.
Yeah.
I've done a little bit of research on Stephen Robinson, and he's typically a 4-3-3, 4-1-4-1 type manager, which is similar to what they were playing last season. But he has gone 3-5-2, and I found an article where Stephen Gerrard was. I don't know whether they beat them in the end, Rangers, but for Motherwell, I think he was accused of going 5-5-0 with his formation to try and hold on to a 1-0 win for Motherwell. I don't know whether that game ended at 1-0, but Stevie wasn't happy with that. So I probably, if we're kind of guessing how this game is going to pan out, Seb, newly promoted team with almost, it's a similar amount of churn in terms of playing staff, new manager. They're unlikely to be kind of going out all guns blazing.
Yeah, it's going to be a low block, isn't it? Probably 2 banks of 4. I've read on a couple of their forums they were quite a pragmatic side last year under Adams. No one really knows what they're going to be like under the new guy, but under Adams they were certainly. It was very much a case of perfectly happy with 30 to 40% possession, and then just look to hit teams on the break and stuff. So I guess we'll see what the new guy's plan is. But yeah, they're not going to come and try and play football against us. Let's be honest. It's going to be up to us and to our creative bodies to try and play between the lines and break them down, because I'd expect just a solid 4-1-4-1 kind of formation for them to shut up shop.
Yeah, and I think Robinson's quite well known for clogging up the midfield as well. So we've had 2 years at League One level where 66% of our opponents turn up trying not to lose. Yeah. It's going to be a tricky one. And have you seen a huge amount of the pre-season action to give you any confidence? We can break it down. I guess the long ball to Piggott is probably the best bet.
That's the option. Yeah, that's the option. A long diagonal. Piggott can obviously, like Scowcroft, bring it down and look to bring others into play and stuff. And I guess if you've got that pace of Burns, the pace of Vincent Young, hopefully you can look into getting behind sides. It looks like it's going to come too soon for Fraser. I guess throughout the season he'll be the one who we're really looking to pick those locks and create those moments of quality when it really, really matters. But for this weekend, it'll be a case of get the ball maybe long to Piggott and see what we can feed off him. And obviously, the great thing is this year, if it's not working at 65, 70 minutes, we can bring on the likes of Norwood, the likes of Bonn. We've got those options on the bench rather than last year where we couldn't break a team down. And we looked at the bench and thought, we'll bring on Hawkins and Drennan. Brilliant. So at least...
sorry, go on.
At least this year, I'm just saying, there's much better options. If plan A isn't working at 70 minutes or so, we have got the personnel to look to hopefully be able to change things if we need to.
And we talked about the bomb squad a few moments ago. Is Saturday a game for Caden Jackson?
I don't think he'll be on the bench. I guess, Piggott's going to lead the line, and we're going to have Norwood and we're going to have Bonn as the striking options. Burns and Vincent Young are going to be the two in the side who you're going to be looking at for your pace, aren't you? And hopefully they can build up a good relationship on the right-hand side. Yeah,
fingers crossed. We're going to have to do this, Seb. Predictions?
Confident. We're not obviously going to be full strength or full tilt for a little while, but I'm going to go for a 2-0, relatively straightforward, relatively comfortable. A bit like we had at the start of last season under Lambert. Do you remember we won a few games 2-0 and you always got the impression we could go up a gear and they were kind of professional performances. I think we'll see one of those on Tuesday and get some more minutes in the legs, some of the guys.
Saturday, yeah.
Saturday, yeah.
And Tuesday against Newport, why not? And
what are you thinking?
So,
boo, negative.
No, I'm not going to lose. I'm not predicting a defeat. I'm going to predict a 1-0 home win. The reason for it is because I'm yet to be convinced that the words are in my head. I have to say it. Trademark Harry from Bath. The covalent bonds. Yeah. I just wonder whether they're there yet. Pigott and Norwood appear to have a good understanding, which is helpful. I just would have preferred the midfield to be a little bit more established. Obviously, Evans has missed quite a lot. I predict Evans will score, by the way. I think it will be a direct free kick, similar to Fulham, and there was another one as well. Well, Burns took an indirect free kick at Cole, didn't he? But I think Evans will captain the side, and I think he'll score a free kick. So there you go. And I suspect it won't be one for the purists, but it will do the job. And we move on. Well, we're at it, Seb. Do you want to do any predictions for the season?
Yeah,
my glass is half empty already, and I'm not going to surprise you with mine. But yeah, go on. So where do you think we'll finish?
I don't have us top two. I think we'll be fighting it out a bit like in the late 90s, but I think we're going to end up finishing third across the season, to be honest.
90s. Do you remember the late... Those are the days, weren't they?
Those are the days. The music, the movies, the winning every week at football.
Let's just talk about the 90s.
No, I think we'll finish third this season, and then the playoffs obviously become anybody's game. I think Rotherham are going to win the league. I know they've lost Crooks, but they are just so well schooled at this level, aren't they? You kind of get the impression that on the first day of pre-season training, Paul Warne just flips over a whiteboard, and it's just do what you did the last time we were back down there. It seems to be so rhythm and routine for them. So I think they'll win the league. I think Sunderland are going to be up there. I know they've lost Charlie Wyke, but bringing in players like Pritchard, Embleton's back from Blackpool on loan. I think they're going to have a good season. So I've got those two as my top two. And then in the playoffs, I've got my notes here. I've got us as third. I think Wickham will be there because, again, school at this level, and Sam Vokes is a good signing at this level.
Vokes.
Yeah. And then I've got Charlton and Wigan making up the playoffs for me personally.
Yeah, so I've got us playoffs as well, but I've got us a little bit lower. I'm a bit worried about. Haven't mentioned Sheffield Wednesday, quite for good obvious reasons, because they're a bit. I kind of thought that crazy off the pitch.
Yeah, I mean they're about to sign Lee Gregory tonight apparently, so they have got some good signings. But all it will take is one missed salary payment, to the players from Chanziri, like they had a couple of times last year, and I could see them falling away. So they'll be strong, but I can't see them.
I like their business, but yeah, you're right. There is a risk there with them. I also like Rotherham, and I also think Wickham will be stronger than. I think we've kind of been skewed by our experience of playing against Wickham and 2 games against them, and I didn't think they were not one of the better teams that I saw, and probably unfairly, I didn't think their promotion was a just situation there. I think they were better teams in those playoffs, but they did what they needed to do. But I think the year at the Championship will have really helped them, and they finished really strong. Don't forget, point away from survival, and yeah, Vokes good signing, good kind of League One level. I think Wickham have got a bit of momentum about them off the field as well, so don't be surprised if they're sort of third, fourth, maybe pushing higher. I've got us fifth only because I'm not convinced yet that we're not going to ship too many goals, which might lead us to drawing more games than we should, or chucking points away at the death. I just feel like we have that weakness about us, at least in the early stage of the season. I'm just hoping that we're a slow burn, and you kind of get to the autumn time, kind of December time, and we do that. Let's talk about 90s. We do a Burley-esque 97, 98, and we just are relentless in the second half of the season. That's what I'm hoping for and kind of expecting. I think we need to get as many points on the board as we can early doors, because I think there'll be kind of that bit of unsettlement. That's a word. I'm sticking with it. I think we will have a similar kind of trajectory as we did in previous seasons, where it all kind of dismantles a little bit. We just need to keep our composure and then trust the plan and then go again. So I'm hopeful of playoffs. I'm hopeful of even more than playoffs, but I'm being realistic.
Yeah, sure, fair enough. And I guess we'll be in a better position to judge as well come the end of the transfer deadline. If we go out and sign 4 more players of the caliber of Edmondson and Chaplin and stuff, then we're all going to be a lot more confident, aren't we?
Yeah.
I did have. Sorry, I meant to mention it earlier. I've got a quick fun fact for you.
Go for it.
Morecambe are one of only 2 sides never to have been relegated in their history. Do you know the other side?
It's not Ipswich.
No, unfortunately not. No.
In the 92?
Yeah.
Is it a Premier League team?
In the 92 now? No. Well, no.
In Forest Green?
Kind of. No. It's AFC Wimbledon.
Of course.
But I thought that was a fun fact. Yeah, Morecambe have never been relegated. They got out of the conference to League Two and then just stayed in League Two forever, and then came up to League One. I thought it was quite an interesting fact.
Well, there is an agenda item for future pre-match shows. Seb's fun fact, and I'll come up with a jingle.
Do I get one of those little sirens with the news going?
Seb's fun fact. Did you know that the cows have
4 stomachs?
So there you go. Let's move it on. This next segment does have its own little theme tune, and we've talked about the 90s, early noughties. Let's go clubbing. Love that.
That is great. That's after that Morecambe game, that 4-0 FA Cup game in January. I could see us in liquid in the the cool room, not the cheese room, the cool room,
downstairs bit.
And the footballers would be there buying, WKD Blue and Orange Reef, and with that kind of music playing, and
we'd have just, because it's like the 1 minute where it's everything's £1, so we'd have 4 bottles of BK Orange and holding them all in our hands like that, and trying to be cool. Yep, those are the days. So this is our new segment. So for the purposes of people who are listening to this on the pod, this is our Football Room 101. So each week, Seb and I and anyone else joining us will give the bit about watching football, supporting Ipswich, attending matches, what have you, anything around the game that just winds them the hell up. And we will debate it, and then we will put it to you, the Blue Monday listenership. We'll do a Twitter poll, and whoever's case you or position you back and believe in the most, the next week we will shove that in Room 101. So it's a kind of rekindling of the shit list, but I created a chavvy little title for it and nicked a TV show idea. So Seb, I'm going to let you go first.
So my one this week, I kind of thought our squad numbers would be out by now, but then obviously. So my one is
recording, by the way.
At the time of recording, on
Thursday, back of the program,
Thursday evening. But my one is what I class as ridiculous squad numbers. So the likes of, for an example, Trent Alexander-Arnold wearing number 66 for Liverpool. Those kind of things really annoy me. I like the squad numbers to be a complete reset, and I think we should have rules on it. Personally, I think we should adopt the Spanish league model, where you can only be numbered 1 to 25, and your keeper has to wear either 1, 13, or 25, and then any youth players that come through are just assigned numbers sequentially after 25 and upwards. And for me, that's what I'd have, because sometimes it's so stupid when you go to a game. And I understand the Pizza Cup competition, you're going to play the kids, and naturally you'll have a higher list of squad numbers. But I remember going to see Johnny Williams wearing number 50 and that kind of stuff just really annoys me. I'm sure that 90% of the people listening to this are just shrugging their shoulders, going, I don't really care, get over it, which I'm fairly sure is going to be your point of view in a minute. But for me, it is a bugbear. It's the kind of thing that just really grinds my goat. And if I give you an example, Sheffield Wednesday in 2016-17 had number one squad number, a goalkeeper. Number two was their backup goalkeeper.
Oh,
and stuff like that is
that
just,
I don't like.
That kind of stuff is just weird. So personally, I'd have, set rules. So your one is your keeper, your two is your right back, your three is your left back, etc. Yeah. But I understand in this world of commercial endorsements and sponsorship, it's a very different world to how it used to be. But for me, 1 to 25, clear numbers in terms of position. You never want to see a number 9 at centre back like Chelsea had when they had Khalid Barouz. And I'll stop now because I'll just keep ranting.
Oh, do you want to know the highest squad number ever worn in a competitive professional match?
In football?
Yep.
It can't be 3-figure. I mean, Italy has some ridiculous numbers. Italy's 99. I think, was it Ronaldo went to Inter and number 9 wasn't available, so he took 99 and put a plus in between the two. But
so I don't know whether this is so. During his record-breaking 618th game for Sao Paulo, Ruggiero Cini wore number 618, and during his last match, number 100. For the Danish national team, Martin Jorgensen wore shirt number 100.
See,
if you'd split out your argument into players wearing the wrong shirt number for their position, I could have got on board with that. But in terms of Emma Hughes being number 44 and all that kind of stuff, I really couldn't care less. Sorry,
really,
I'm going to do my Alan Partridge shrug for that one. But it's not me that gets to decide. It is. Listener land, it's Twitter sphere, whatever, we'll put it out there, and plus I might come up with something rubbish to counter you with. So if I come up with something rubbish, you might win by default. That's how the game works. I'm putting into Football Room 101 the 3 p.m. Saturday broadcast blackout. In 2021, it just seems to me to be bloody ridiculous, a really stupid thing. That if you live, if they want to do it, maybe do it so that if you live, where you are, maybe there's a 100 mile radius from where the stadium is, you can let people stream it. But I just think in the modern streaming era, where an on-demand, entertainment, football is kind of shooting itself in the foot by not allowing spectators from within this country to watch Premier League matches, even Ipswich matches on a 3 p.m. stream. If you're going to go to the game, you'll go to the game. If you're marginal and borderline, you might go, oh well, I might stream it. But if you live in Ipswich, and there's a football match on and you're interested, you're not going to stream it. That's crazy. And don't forget, most people go to the football, as we talked about before, for the 2 hours in the pub beforehand and the 2 hours in the curry house afterwards, and the football bit is the kind of incidental bit in the middle. So I'm not buying it. I think it's a missed commercial opportunity. I think it's crazy that in America, for example, I think it's NBC, you can stream all of the matches running concurrently in the Premier League, the EPL, at that time on a Saturday. In 2021, that makes no sense to me. So that's what I'm putting into, or what I'm putting forward.
Well, I guess I meant to argue, back against you to pop up my squad numbers idea, but you've come up with quite a good one there, and I have to kind of agree with it based on my geographical and personal circumstances. I kind of thought after all the rights were allowed last year for COVID, I thought we might see maybe a bit of a halfway house, and I guess we have. We've got the evening games now on iFollow, haven't we?
Yeah.
But like you say, if you're going to go to the game, you will go to the game. If you're within an hour of Ipswich, there's no way that streaming is a better option than being there with your mates and the atmosphere and having a pint, etc. Streaming, you're never going to get that. It's just a source of convenience for the likes of myself that can't go. So annoyingly, whilst my squad number still really, really angers me, I can totally agree with that one.
If you were going to get a squad number on the back of your shirt, what would it be?
5 centre half. I'm quite big and immobile and rubbish at football, so I'll just go as a centre half. I'm not going to be like a Rio Ferdinand kind of centre half either. I'm talking a proper. Spent all my career in League Two and non-league centre half.
I can see like Tony Mowbray towards the end of his career.
I'll take that. I'll score the winner at Wembley. I'll do.
Yeah, just to get on the end of something. I was always number 8. Always number 8. Midfield.
The box to box, the Matty Holland.
Well, not the box to box. I mean, I'd have the number 8, but I'm not going to put in this a Matty Holland.
I'm not putting the shift in. Why should I?
Yeah, I'll do Cole Scouse. I'll do the Cole Scouse 8 where I just sit and face the goal, and then every now and then I might spray a pass and score every few years. So there you go. So we will probably not immediately, because we don't want to spoil the show. We will put out a poll, and you can decide what makes it into our first Blue Monday Football Room 101. And we will keep doing that every week, and we'll keep adding to that. And did I mention this at the start? We'll put these on live, and every now and then we'll kind of get people to chip in stuff and do questions, and we'll do that kind of stuff live, and we'll do the vote there and then as well. But we're just finding our feet as it is. But at the moment, that is Room 101, and I feel like I want to put the theme tune back on.
Yeah, it's a good theme tune. Put it back on. Any excuse.
And that is it. You look like you're about to say that's brilliant.
I was going to say, you're going to have to make me that ringtone for me on my phone or something. So next time I see you, I'll hand you my iPhone, and you can make that be my ringtone, and I can throw back to the younger days of drinking WKD Blue and liquid.
Bluetooth it, yeah. So that is it. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Let us know what you thought. Positive comments, please, and all constructive criticism, noting that we do try ever so hard, and we're all got very fragile egos. A few things to plug, and something else that will probably be a future feature, I think, on this show. The Blue Monday Fantasy Premier League is back, and this year we are going to give a prize to the winner. We might even give a couple of prizes for second and third place as well. I will cover up our faces, Seb, with the details for those of you who are watching on YouTube. The joining code is JN1IHL. And as it says there, prizes TBC. I'll also stick a joining link on our Twitter and on our Instagram and Facebook pages. And that is a really helpful prompt for me to do a little bit of a scroller there so you know where to find us. So do join in. Do you do FPL, Seb?
I do, yeah. I had the perfect team down to zero budget left over. I'd squeezed everything and was all good to go. And then last night, poor Fofana. Did you see the horror tackle in the preseason friendly? He's now broken the Leicester centre-back. He's now broken his leg. So he's now out. So I had to completely rejig things. So I also had Grealish, figuring he would play every game for Villa, and I'm just not sure he'll play as many at City. So I need to now go back and do a bit of tweaking here.
I think Grealish is an excellent purchase. Before you listen to this show, because he's about to start. I think he's just passed his medical when we've recorded this, because I think his value is going to be surely his value is going to be adjusted, isn't it?
I would have thought so, but the trouble you get is I had it last year. I bought Diaz and Walker and stuff. Cancelo for City, but Pep, don't forget, you won't get 38 games out of him. That's the problem. That's where it hurts you. So you've got to try and make the balance of, am I going to get enough points with Diaz playing 30 games this season to make up for the times he's left on the bench towards the end of the season when they've got a Champions League game in midweek. So there is a science behind this. Yeah,
it's almost as, come for the football chat, stay for the FPL consultancy. This is all gold stuff here from Seb. So what we'll do is we'll probably keep a track on the FPL standings in our league. So the more the merrier. And maybe even Seb and I will show you how far we are off the pace. I think I was in the top 10 for the first third of the season. And I don't think I finished too far off, but yeah, plummeted. And then the trouble is with FPL is you kind of 2 weeks, you forget to do transfers.
And you game over. You're never going to claw it back. I was there. I did an Ipswich last year. I'm in one with some mates, and I started the season on fire. I think it got to February, and I was about 70 points clear. And I thought, boom, I'm going to absolutely walk this. And then there was like a weird week where only 4 teams played, and because of COVID, one of those got called off. And then my mate who was behind me every single week just chipped away slightly more. It's basically Alex Ferguson chasing down Kevin Keegan. And then it got to about, I think 3 games before the end, and I just conceded and said, sod you.
And I think we can do a cup thing as well. So we'll enable that. So we will keep an eye on the FPL stuff on this show. So keep them peeled. Another thing that we've got, which is exciting and giveaway and prizey, you might be able to, if I can get my point in the right way, that is my print from Matthew Wood of Portman Road. And you can win said print in our giveaway. We are doing it slightly different. We've obviously done YouTube stuff and we've done Twitter stuff, but because we are showing some love down the Instagram feed this season, we want you to and just perfectly on cue, there it is, our Blue Monday page, Blue Monday Pod Team. If you give us a follow and if you give Matthew a follow, and we've linked to it on our account, and if you like the post, then we will do a random draw on Sunday and announce the winner on the flagship show. And I would say Saturday night, actually. Saturday night, we'll close it off. Sunday morning is when we'll record the pod. So we'll announce it Sunday evening and on the pod. And good luck. We'll do it randomly. And I'm very happy with my print and lots of other things behind me that will be increasing and stuff as we go through the season. So definitely worth getting involved in that.
Are you going to sign it?
Am I going to start? No, it's going to go direct. But
okay.
I mean, I'll get a bum bag and some photos.
Just start handing them out in the fan zone.
Do you want one? Do you want one? So that is your competitions, and as I say, plugs going on there. And finally, I mentioned it already. The flagship show is back on Sunday, and it will go out Monday. Probably. Well, we're recording Sunday morning, so we'll put it out Sunday night again. It's Dave, Craig, and me again. So apologies if you're bored of hearing from me. And that is your lot. You can find me at Ipswich. Seb, where can we find you? And do you know what? Because I'm nice and because we didn't rehearse this bit, I'm going to let you have the final word.
Brilliant. At BrownSO8 is the Twitter handle. And have a great time on Saturday, everybody. Gutted I can't be there, but have a really, really good time. Enjoy the atmosphere. It'll be great to be back inside Portman Road. And come on, you Blues.